All right, man, we back. Motor City Spurs talking some Detroit Lions, man, and it's an interesting take I know people have on Darius Slay, and by them not already giving him a new contract or announcing that, maybe it's done, maybe it's not done between him and Snacks. It makes you believe if Darius Slay in the fold for the Detroit Lions' future. All right, but let's talk about it. Appreciate everybody showing love. It's your boy CJ Goodfella. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video, okay? And my whole educated guess on it was they was going to incentive or push some money from his last year in this deal and move it up this year and see, where you go this year. He's 30 years old. And what's so funny is a lot of the guys say, well, Darius Slay is so overrated and we don't need him. Darius Slay is one of the rare draft picks that turned into an all-pro caliber, Pro Bowl caliber player, though. Everybody can sit there and say, oh, he overrated, he this and that, but he has a little bit of injury history, but he won the best 2 or 3 players on the roster, though. And he was drafted. He was homegrown here. You know what I'm saying? And just like Calvin Johnson and Ndamukong Suh and a few other guys that came here, he's took a hit. His PR, his publicity has took a hit by being in Detroit because the lack of winning and the accepted, culture here, around the National Football League outside of here, that it's a losing organization. So he didn't get that recognition, just as Glover Quinn didn't as well, which I thought Glover Quinn was one of the 5 or 7 best safeties in the National Football League at one point in time, and being in Detroit hurt his stock. So, Darius Slay said he want to be here, but in the grand scheme of things, a lot of people seem to think he overrated. I find that funny that it's an indictment on his skills, but it's never really been a universal or a local indictment on Matthew Stafford's skills. It's been real taboo, and a lot of people think it's a slippery slope to talk about Matthew Stafford being overrated. I wouldn't even whisper Darius Slay was overrated before I said Matthew Stafford was. But that's just what it is, Everybody just act like Stafford is golden child. He ain't good enough, or he ain't had enough help, and all Darius Slay did was come here and perform. He was drafted 2nd round. He exceeded expectations. He exceeded the hype. Now I understand his expectations probably wasn't high as Matthew Stafford being the number 1 overall pick coming out of Georgia. And he's, coming off an 0-16 season for the Lions. But still, he performed. And for people to inkle that he overrated, do y'all know how hard it was for us to find a solid corner? We hadn't drafted a corner that high since Terry Fair. Okay? What up, though, to Terry Fair? And we have, people quick to forget we had corner problems. We still got corner problems outside of Darius Slay. You know what I'm saying? Coming into this year before we got Coleman and a few other guys. We had a problem finding the second corner last year. Deshaun Shed and Nevin Lawson. Y'all forget? Before that was Nevin Lawson and DJ Hayden, who suffered a gruesome injury down there in Houston. He just never was the same at some point. Y'all forget before we got here, we were struggling with cornerbacks. We had got Dre Bly and, was our best corner. We hadn't had a premier corner in so long. Aaron Berry, Alex Carter, Bill Bentley. People in Detroit forget and they spoiled. And Darius Slay ain't did nothing but come in and solidify the number 1 corner spot. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget he was homegrown. He's delivered more than Matthew Stafford delivered. And unfortunately, he get a lot of backlash for no reason. All the backlash Stafford should get, Darius Slay don't. Let him go. They let him go, trade him after the season, or trade him now, whatever they figuring on doing. Me personally, I signed him to a 2 or 3 year deal, if not a 4-year deal. Matthew Stafford has been overcompensated here for years for absolutely nothing. I don't care if you put it on Jim Bob Cooter, Joe Lombardi, Scott Linehan, Martin Mayhew, Tom LeWine. Those the cards you dealt. But for people to forget how far we came from cornerbacks, and when we struggle, we still suffering through cornerbacks, I sound like a civil rights activist. It's funny, man. Lions fans getting spoiled real quick because he solidified that position. He solidified that position. He came in into a zone system at the time, and he still found his way as a man corner. Came out of JUCO. Only did 1 year, I believe, at Mississippi State, if I'm not considered. Jonathan Banks was considered the better cornerback. He was the return-man cornerback. And where Jonathan Banks at? He probably no longer in the league no more. He had to stop here, and Darius Slay did shit, but got it from the mud and came from the bottom. He delivered. I understand he wasn't a Bob Quinn pick, but you show me how you going to replace Darius Slay. Unless you bring in a Jalen Ramsey in, or somewhat like a Patrick Peterson or something like that in, then it ain't too many better cornerbacks than him. Morris Claiborne ain't the answer. Ronald Darby, before he went back to wherever, I think he went to Philly, he ain't the answer. Y'all ain't never gave Darius Slay a proper running mate at the second cornerback position. And it's a guy that want to be here. He's been very, very vocal about being here. Now, his girlfriend did talk some shit about the fans, and that's a slippery slope. When your significant other get out here talking junk about a fan base, it's just best not to be saying nothing. But other than that, he ain't had a problem off the field. He been a model citizen, and he's delivered. But they ain't never tried to get rid of Matthew Stafford. All the past Stafford picks he done got, and all the the yardage that don't count. But all of a sudden, people want to turn on Darius Slay, and all he did was perform. Don't forget, before y'all get hollering that injury shit, Matthew Stafford basically missed the first 2 years. And I told y'all, man, it always got something to do with the complexion for the selection. I'm gonna continue to just speak the truth on that. You know what I'm saying? That's what if I'm Darius Slay, all right, just get rid of me, cool. As long as you don't send me to Buffalo, because I ain't signing in Buffalo. Get rid of me then. Y'all don't want to pay me, and I sat here and I want to be here. I want a very few people that want to be in Detroit. Y'all want to get rid of me and continue to pay Matthew Stafford $30-something million a year? Go ahead. Because y'all ain't never gave me a proper running mate on the other side of me, let alone a good nickel. He David Ruffin in here. He said, I'm David Ruffin. Y'all niggas just the Temptations. But it's funny how people all get rid of him, but they defend Stafford. I'm like, what? What are doing with the blue face? All right. Hit him with the blue face. All right. Mopping up the flow on their ass like blue face. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it's funny how the game go. If I'm Darius Slay, okay, cool. Get rid of me. At the end of the day, do y'all really trust Bob Quinn to replace Darius Slay? Most of us probably do. People say, well, the rookie Armani Orakwe, he can, you really banking on a rookie who was a full-time starter 1 year at Penn State? It's going to take time. But people forgot the struggle of cornerbacks the Lions went through. When they get rid of Darius Slay and they don't bring in a proper replacement, y'all going to remember what them struggles like. Real quick, fast in the here. Y'all gonna remember Aaron Berry days dropping 20 interceptions in a playoff game versus New Orleans. Had he caught half the interceptions that hit his hand and hit the turf, we win that game. We ain't even talk about Stafford not having a playoff win. This is the same Bob Quinn who can't figure out that right tackle, can't figure out that right guard, drafted a center to play left guard, left tackle looking suspect. That's the same Bob Quinn we trust him to be a cornerback. Don't forget, Martin Mayhew was a cornerback. He kept striking out on quarterback. He refused to take a cornerback in the first and second round. And when he finally did with Darius Slay, gosh golly gee, he hit the jackpot. Now, I'm not saying, go pay Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey type money that he looking for, or he Xavier Rhodes or something like that. But I'm just saying, you better appreciate what you got before it's gone. We ain't been DBU like LSU, Ohio State, or Ohio State. All right, we ain't been DBU. We ain't had the most success with cornerbacks. We had some success with safety. We ain't had the most success with cornerbacks, but they understand what I'm saying. They understand. But I just find it, to close it out, I find it highly funny how we criticizing Darius Slay. But all of a sudden, Stafford get this pass. He ain't got a good enough tight end. He ain't got a good enough receiver. It's the offensive coordinator. It's the running back. It's the left tackle, left guard, center, right guard. Oh, man, the stars ain't aligning. Oh, it's cold outside today. Patricia got him practicing outside. Stafford called it cold. It's a million excuses for Matthew Stafford for number 9. But when it comes to Darius Slay and his bro, he overrated. He outperformed his contract. You know what I'm saying? He outperformed his. He lived up to the hype. He legitimately made Pro Bowls. I think he was on the All-Pro team. Stafford legitimately made a Pro Bowl. He was an alternate. He might have made it the other year when he was 50 touchdowns. I'm not sure. Or whatever, 40-something touchdowns. But this dude ain't did nothing but ball out. But all of a sudden, now he won his money. Oh, he ain't done nothing. He overrated. All I'm just saying, keep that same energy for number 9. All right? But that's my dog, Darius Slay. He goes somewhere else, I'm going to support him. Because he was one of the very few draft picks that came in here and exceeded the hype. But don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out to the email. If you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video requests, keep sharing the videos. Appreciate the love and support. Blessings to the brothers and sisters out there. Appreciate it. One time for the one time.